I didn't lose over 120 pounds because I found the perfect diet. I started to see success and really lose weight once I started to educate myself about food, and more importantly, once I started to understand myself, how certain foods affected my body, and developed a routine and a strategy that works for me and my lifestyle that I could stay consistent with for life. So if you're new here, my name is Pete. I lost over 120 pounds, going from around 280 to now below 160. And I always struggled with weight. As a little kid, I struggled with all of the highs and lows of just being the fat kid. And along the way, I tried so many different diets. And in this video, I want to just break down why most diets fail and actually what worked for me, ultimately. So most diets fail right off the bat because they're built to be temporary. So a lot of the times we start a diet because, hey, New Year's, time to get healthy. We've got a wedding coming up in a few months, so we have to fit in that outfit. But really, if you want to see success, lasting success with weight loss, it's about developing a healthy relationship with food. And that comes with education and really living a certain lifestyle, not just going on a diet to lose some weight. It's about actually going from an unhealthy lifestyle to a healthy lifestyle in a way that you can stick to and actually enjoy so that you can live that way for life. So the next reason why most diets fail is because when you start to research, a lot of these ideas around diets, they give you conflicting information. And the one I thought was the most egregious in conflicting information is this concept of a vegan lifestyle versus a carnivore lifestyle. Now, those are completely polar opposites, and when you actually dive into the research and you start to read up on it and watch YouTube videos, it all makes sense. Like if you listen to the logic, it all makes sense. And when I was struggling with my weight, I would watch certain videos and I would listen to a doctor or a scientist on YouTube, and it would just resonate with me so much, and I would think, oh, this is perfect. I can finally follow a vegan diet or carnivore, keto, and eliminate carbs or eliminate animal fat. And none of that actually addressed the real problem because it didn't talk about what is real in someone's lifestyle, which is the fact that in my case, I was overeating. So it can just cause so much confusion, and that confusion can waste time, can waste energy, and can turn you away from what's actually going on, which is your relationship to food. So that leads me to the next point of why diets typically fail, and that's because they don't actually fit within our lifestyle. They conflict with the way that we actually lead our lives. So we all have super busy lives, and, constantly focusing on food. You're going to be in the grocery store, you're going to be prepping, when it's time to go out, you can't eat foods because it doesn't fit within your plan. So the actual practicality of adhering to any sort of diet a lot of the times isn't there. So in the case of cutting out certain foods, like for the vegan diet, for example, if you're on vacation and you're in a location where there's primarily meat around, it's going to be pretty hard to stick to that vegan diet. And now you might be compromising with yourself and say, oh, I guess I'll eat meat while I'm on vacation. and now you're compromising your values and your plan, and now it just doesn't make much sense. Um, so it's also really hard to just stay hyper focused on just what you're eating and putting all the time into planning everything out. It just gets too complicated and doesn't actually fit within our lifestyle. We'll find ourselves basically creating more stress around the way that we're eating. And that stress can actually negatively impact our health because we're just overthinking things and not able to just enjoy what we're doing. And that conflicts completely with my next point, which is that the most important thing is that you can stay consistent. So when you've got all this confusion and you've got the fact that it conflicts with our real lives and the fact that we love to eat certain foods, how can you stay consistent with it? It's you're spending all this time in the grocery store eating foods that you don't actually like. It's pretty hard for me to understand how I was trying to do that and think that I could stick with that for life. Consistency is something that you need in order to see success in any sort of health and diet that you want to follow for life. And the biggest point that for me and why I could never stay consistent with my diet or any certain diet that restricts food is because the reason why I was overweight in the first place is that I love food. I love to eat. I come from an Asian background, and food is how we connect with each other. Food is how we show love for each other. Food is a way to connect to our heritage and our history. And I don't want to cut out that part of my life and just to lose a few pounds. The real way to get to a healthy lifestyle is by understanding your food and developing that strategy where you can enjoy the foods that you truly love. And you may come from a culture too where certain foods are a complete no-no for certain diets. The thing that comes to my mind is like, hey, if you're Italian, are you not going to eat pasta and pizza? To me, that this kind of mindset just it doesn't make any sense, and it can conflict with the idea that you have to stay consistent and you have to enjoy what you're doing. So the question is, what actually worked for me? And the way that I was able to reconcile all these issues with diets is through fasting. Now, what you may not realize is that we all have fasting in our lives to a certain degree through sleep. And if you think about it, the way that pretty much every life form in this world deals with regulating and repairing our bodies is through fasting and sleep, rest, and allowing our bodies time to digest food and do the repairs that it might need to undergo in a day. And so with fasting, all you're really doing is just using the body's natural abilities to repair itself and do what it needs to do. So in a way, the kind of conflicting and information and confusion around whether or not fasting is healthy, to a certain degree, we know fasting is healthy because sleep is one way that our body repairs itself. So that, like logically, that's one of the ways that I kind of knew fasting was going to be beneficial for me. Now, in terms of the amount and the duration of the fast, that's the next level of trying to figure out what worked for me. But just as a baseline, the confusion of whether or not it was healthy or whether or not it was going to work, I knew that to a certain degree it would work. It's just a question of how it would fit within my lifestyle. Next part is about the practicality and the lifestyle. Well, when you're fasting, and in my case, when you're eating one meal a day, you only have to worry about one meal a day. That's less time in the grocery store. That's less time prepping. That's less time cooking. That's less time cleaning up. That's less time wondering what you're going to eat, wondering, hey, am I within a certain calorie range? If you eat one meal a day, you can kind of assume you're within a healthy calorie range and you're not blasting off into a huge calorie surplus. Now, when I eat one meal a day, I'm sure to eat um, natural foods and try to eat as clean as I can. But I don't think about calories. So that's another way that fasting is just so beneficial for me, is that it's not too complicated. I don't have to think about it too much. In my case, if I eat one meal a day, the way I think about it is just I have one meal a day and I just try to make it as healthy and clean as possible and have it be generally a balanced meal, complete with fiber and protein and carbohydrates and fats and just a nicely balanced meal. And with the practicality of putting in less effort, less stress, less money, it just made so much more sense for me. And when something makes sense, when it's easy, then it's easier to stick to. Now, my way of going about fasting is that I fast between 5 and 6 days a week. And so on the weekend, basically, is when I allow myself the grace to eat more normally with family and friends. So what I was mentioning before about living within an Asian culture and connecting with my loved ones through food, by building in a cheat day, you can call it, or just a day where I eat more normally, that allows me to actually enjoy my life and connect with the people that I love through food, which is a part of my culture. And combined with the practicality of just eating clean during the week, one meal clean, and then a more free way of eating on the weekend, this strategy and this lifestyle is something that I can live with for life, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to stress about it. And that, all of that makes me more consistent. And when I'm consistent, I'm enjoying the process much more. It's more successful. I could see the results, and therefore it's something I can live with for life. And so, yeah, to just reiterate, so a diet can fail you because it's temporary in nature. You have a start and end date. You don't think about it as something that you're just going to do for life and a healthy lifestyle that you're just going to leave for life. It is something that can conflict with different diets, conflict with the thought process behind them and the logic of it all conflicts. So now you're confused. It doesn't actually fit within your lifestyle. So you love food, and if you're Italian and you can't eat pizza, that doesn't really work. And when something doesn't really work, now you're forcing yourself to do it, so you can't stay consistent. And consistency is how you're actually going to lose weight. So that's why diets typically fail, is because they don't actually consider the person that's actually on the diet, right? So you might follow a diet and you can lose weight, but you'll gain it back because you're not consistent and you can't actually lead that lifestyle for life. And so, to kind of summarize and close it up, if you are trying to find the perfect diet, that strategy is fine and you can see some results, but the way to find lasting results is to ask yourself, what can work for you and within your lifestyle for life? And in order to find that, you need to really understand what is your actual preferences around food. How do you like to eat? And if you're in a diet that doesn't address any of that, it might be possible that you won't be able to stick to that diet. So if you got anything out of this video, I hope that you consider subscribing, leaving a comment, and I'd love to continue to build a conversation, build a community around health, fitness, strategy around how to build a healthier lifestyle. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you.